In the name of Allah, most forgiving, most merciful. Assalamu alaikum, my dear sisters and brothers in faith and humanity. My name is Maliha. I'm a Muslim and I attend Kalamazoo Islamic Center. Friends, today the atmosphere in the US is one of hostility and stress. COVID 19 seems to have messed up our mental and social balance, our equilibrium. We have become so divided and so conflicted. Many seem to be overwhelmed with all kinds of negative emotions: anger, bitterness, hate, and mainly fear. We fear the virus, we fear the future, we fear the government, we fear our neighbors, we fear people who are different from us. We even seem to fear our own selves and our reactions to events. The forces of darkness seem to be working overtime, pitting us against each other. Conflicts seem to have become worse within families, within communities, within organizations. And, sadly, we have seen what that kind of conflict and violence, what kind of effect it can have on people. In this kind of a situation, is there any hope? Is there any way out of this darkness? Is there any light at the end of the tunnel? Lots of people have asked me this question. And I just want to say that there is hope, there is light, there is guidance. All you need to do is to have faith in your Creator. And let me read out to you some really beautiful passages from our holy book, that is the Quran. And these passages really tell us what to do in times of trials and difficulties. Friends, these kind of trials and difficulties are not new. They have been faced by people over the ages. And God, our Creator, has given us guidelines on how we can handle these kind of situations. So, the first thing we need to know is that nothing can happen to us except that which God has decreed for us. God tells us in the Quran, chapter 9, verse 51, say, nothing shall ever happen to us except what Allah has ordained for us. He is our guardian, Lord, protector, and in Allah, let the believers put their trust. So we need to trust that God is there for us, He is with us, He's protecting us, He's helping us, and that whatever happens, good or bad, it's with His knowledge and as part of His overall plan for us. We don't need to fear anything. We do need to take precautions. We do need to protect ourselves and our families, but we don't need to be debilitated by fear. Secondly, we need to understand that all forms of violence, hate, enmity comes from the forces of darkness. And the best way to defeat darkness is to stand together as one community of believers with love and friendship and mercy between us. God says in the Quran, Surah 3, verse 103, and hold fast all together by the rope which Allah stretches out for you, and be not divided among yourselves. And remember with gratitude Allah's favor on you, for you were enemies and He joined your hearts in love, so that by His grace you became brethren. And you were on the brink of the pit of fire, and He saved you from it. Thus does Allah make His signs clear to you, so that you may be guided. So remember, to be divided is to be ungrateful to Allah for His favors. One of the blessings that God gives us is social peace. Ask the people who live in countries that are torn by war and conflict what it is like to really live in fear. Be thankful that in this country we have peace. So let's stay together and defeat the forces that would have us be in conflict and war with each other. Thirdly, that we need to call out injustice and oppression wherever we see it. If we don't do this, injustice will become rampant, will become entrenched in the systems around us, which it has. So, in order to defeat that, we have to call it out wherever we see it. God says in the Quran, chapter 4, verse 135, O believers, stand out firmly for justice as witnesses to Allah, even as against yourselves or your parents or your kin, or whether it be against rich or poor, for Allah can best protect both. Follow not your base desires of your hearts, lest you swerve. And if you distort or decline to do justice, verily Allah is well aware of all that you do. So it's important to stand up against injustice. But having said that, at the same time as standing up against injustice and oppression, it's as important that we stand for love and togetherness. God says, pardon and overlook. Would you not like that Allah should forgive you? And Allah is forgiving and merciful. And again in Surah 3, verse 134, He said, the believers are those who spend in charity during ease and hardship, who restrain their anger and pardon the people. For Allah loves the doers of good. And again in Surah 7, verse 199, He says, show forgiveness, enjoin what is good, and turn away from the ignorant. Our beloved Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said, be merciful to others, and you will receive mercy. Forgive others, and Allah will forgive you. Reconcile whoever cuts you off. Give to whoever deprives you, and pardon whoever wrongs you. So let's learn to be a little bit more forgiving, a little bit more kind. Let's stand together against hate and violence as one community of Americans, regardless of our religion, our race, our gender, or any other kind of identities that we have, so that we can be courageous and strong, and we can walk out of this difficult time. This difficult time will end. But when it ends, we need to be walking out with our dignity and our honor intact. So thank you and stay blessed.